moment. It's like the Colts get a better draft pick because Lovey Smith, the coach of the Houston Texans, who was also the coach of the Bears, also the coach of Illinois, who I actually had a chance to talk to, one-on-one before, ends up beating them in the last game of the season. So that was a lot of crazy overlap there. But it has been a crazy transition for me. Being a mainly an NBA basketball guy growing up, I've learned a lot about the NFL, still learning as I go. There's pressure with that, of course, but I like pressure, kind of like Anthony Richardson, I guess, where you don't fold under that if you know what you put into it. Like I work hard, I enjoy it. I think I take the job serious, but not myself. So as long as I stay humble in that regard, it'll be fun. But I think that it'll be cool to document the beginning of something and be there for every twist and turn of Anthony Richardson's career, assuming I'm here as well, because I think that it's different when you see it and witness it in real time rather than going back and reading about it like I've had to do with Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, and things like that. So I didn't grow up as a Colts fan, but I think one of the weird things about being a reporter is that you lose the fandom kind of quick if you really care about your craft. Now, that's not saying if I switched over to covering the NBA again, I wouldn't have NFL opinions, but I think that it's pretty easy to cut that stuff off when you cover a certain league or a certain team because you want to be respected. And I think the best thing to do to get respected is to do good work, be critical, but also be respectful at all times. Sometimes we might not see eye to eye with every player, but at the same time, I got to see you every day during the season, so I'm never going to disrespect you, but I am going to hold you accountable if I feel like what you're putting out there is not conducive to winning and things like that. And so I even like when the players throw it back at me like, hey, that word you used wasn't the correct one, or, you missed the word here, something like that. So if I can dish the criticism, I got to be able to take it too. So it's a two-way street, and I'm looking forward to driving down that street, here in a little bit.
So yeah, and I like I said, I don't want to step on anybody's toes because I know Austin or Josh may have anything to say whenever Josh decides that he doesn't want to be a white circle with a white dot in the middle. Oh, there you go. There we go. There we go. But no, I wanted to segue into basketball a little bit just for a moment, because you were giving Jaylen Brown hell last night.
Yeah, he was struggling. I think that he's a player. I got to see him play in person. Obviously, being on the Pacers, be very talented guy. And this is just in all seriousness, it amazes me how talented he is, but how limited he is. Because he made an All NBA second team, and he can't dribble consistently going left. And that's not a lie. I mean, the tape shows. I think when you force him to go left and dribble a few times and create off the dribble going left, he struggles a lot more doing that than going right. And so, honestly, I know people are going to talk about breaking up the team or should you pay him the Supermax. I don't think that I would. But the bottom line is if he's back in the Celtics uniform, he has to lock himself in the gym and work all on his handles and all on his left hand, because if you don't do that, I think it caps what the Celtics are able to do going forward. They're all young. Yeah. I mean, people can get mad about where they're at right now, but it's like they didn't even play good, and they were a game away from being in the finals. Like, that's how much talent they have over there. So I don't think you should break it up, but I wouldn't pay him the max, super max that is. I'm not giving him $290 million if you can't go left. You're not my best player. However, if they can get him, in a max range, and again, if he works on his game and takes some accountability for that, they should be good. But yeah, I was on him because I think that you see Jason Tatum go down with the ankle injury. You got to step up, and it's not even that he missed shots. It's just that the 8 turnovers and the ones where you're just losing the ball because you can't dribble. That's pretty tough. I know Pacers fans have been clamoring for him, and he's going to be in Indianapolis, and it's like I don't see why you think the struggles over there are going to be any better when he's more highlighted if he were to come to Indianapolis. Like, he would really be handed the keys here alongside Tyrese Halliburton and expected to do more than over there. And I'm like, again, if you can't dribble with your offhand, it's going to be tough to do. So we ain't got to dive too much into it, but I mean, I'm a basketball guy, man. I love watching all sports, I feel like. Especially when it's do or die, and that's what it was, yesterday, Game 7, do or die.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Josh.
I would say it definitely was. Watching, like you said, it was painful watching him, and also Tatum. I know he tweaked his ankle right before halftime, but him playing bad the way he played in a elimination game, it was just painful to watch. But since I'm a Laker fan, I love it.
I got respect for what he did. I was hoping to see them, get to the finals, but at the same time, I feel like Jokic got something to say. He's on that best player in the world tier right now. I got him up there with Steph and Giannis. You can just take your pick of those three, but we'll see what the Lakers do and what Bron does. And he's not gonna retire. I don't even know why that was a story. That was funny. When I saw the quote, I was like, that's not gonna happen. And because he's got $97 million from his deal, he can opt out up to the next year. But people are like, he's got enough money. But I don't know about y'all, but rich people never turn down more money.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't.
That's enough. Yeah, they're like, oh, he's got enough money. Like I would like even when Melo didn't leave the Knicks that one time, he could have came to the Bulls and had a better shot at the ring or something like that. They're like, oh, Melo, all he wants is the money. And it's like, it's easy to turn down $50 million when you ain't being offered it.
Exactly.
In real life, man, I'm gonna take that ball and play on the moon if you mean I'm gonna make $50 million somewhere else. So
I agree.
I guarantee. I mean, Karl Malone, he was ring chased at the end of his career and went to the Lakers. Took less money to go there, and they didn't win it. Lost to the Pistons. So
yeah,
sounds good until you don't win, and then you don't get the money either. So I can go on a rant for sure, but we'll see. I'm excited for the finals. I know people are talking about ratings, but I ain't no TV owner or TV station owner. I don't care about ratings. I'm gonna lock in because I'm a hoops fan. So
exactly. And we were talking about the fact that this is one of those like super neutral, finals where it's just like, if you're not a Heat or Nuggets fan, which I mean, other than Austin being a Heat fan, I don't know too many Heat fans. So, I mean, for us, it's just kind of like I'm just waiting for good games. But however, I wouldn't be mad if Jimmy got a ring.
Right.
Well, Austin, you know this. You've probably been saying this more than me. If Jimmy pulls this off, it's one of the greatest playoff runs ever. I hope that they steal game one just to make it interesting. I think that they're extremely overmatched just because Denver's, to me, the better team, got the best player, and they're just big. Like, if they weren't as big as they are, I would feel okay about the matchup, but they just big. I mean, Kyle Lowry, who you going to guard? Gabe Vincent, who you going to guard? And so on the other side, they got Aaron Gordon. They got Bruce Brown. They got, Murray's not a great defender by any stretch of the imagination, but he's also a bigger guard, though. He's a bigger body. So we'll see. But I'm hoping they steal game one. Miami does, just to make it interesting. Put some pressure on people and see if Mike Malone keeps talking that talk. I like guys that talk, though. He's been talking crazy, but I appreciate it. I think that anybody got to do it. So, yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
Oh, I'm with all that. Yeah. It's thing when your team, hey, if Brian and them was doing the same thing, you probably love it. So it is what it is, man. Either way, like you said, it's a good story. You got an 8th seed trying to get a ring. Jimmy, if he were to get one, I think that would be, again, one of the greatest runs ever. But then also Denver on the other side trying to get their first championship in franchise history. So there's always, stories. And as a reporter, I'm like, man, I wish I was covering it because I know beyond just the games themselves, there's a lot of good stories there with different guys kind of coming up through the ranks and, making their own journey and making their name for themselves. Even a guy like Bruce Brown, who was in the G League, a few years ago, scrapping and scraping to get to where he is and now being on a championship contender. So we'll see. Nikola Jokic, could be the Tom Brady of the NBA, so to speak, being the 41st pick and kind of a nobody coming into the NBA, and now he's on trajectory to be one of the greatest players ever. So we'll see.
Right.
We can talk NBA all day, but what y'all got for me, Colts wise?
Well, hey, there's actually there was one question that I did have for you, and I think this was something that popped out like last week. So they had a graphic. And it was super overmatched, but it's just like, let's just see where everybody's at. So it was the starting five from 2002, 2003, just all stars. I think it was like AI, Kobe, T-Mac, Tim Duncan, and Shaq versus the 2022-2023 roster. But the thing is, it was just all the younger players. So I think it was just like, it's like Luka, Embiid. And then there was a few others, just like basically just like old generation versus like newer generation. And now it's escaping me. I've literally had that on my head all day. I think like Tatum was in that small forward. But
SGA.
SGA was in there. And so when you're talking about like something like that, especially now, do you feel like the guys now are better than they are, or are they more like, I'm gonna say, would you say more like skilled than they used to be back in like 02, 03.
Yeah, it's hard to say.